Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are St. Louis.
This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball, and tonight from our nation's capital, it's game number 2 of the 4-game series. The St. Louis Cardinals and the Washington Nationals. Last night, Danny Espinosa with his 4th home run of the season, the 2nd allowed by Mike Leake in the game, the Nissan drive of the game. That proved to be the game winner. 2-1 was the final. Now we look forward to game number 2. That's Tim McCarver. Jim Hayes is here. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Great matchup. Jaime Garcia, the lefty for St. Louis, and Max Scherzer, hard-throwing right-hander going for the Nationals.
It's interesting, Dan, that pitchers go about their crafts in different ways. Some make contact, bad contact. That's Jaime Garcia. Some throw so hard that hitters have a tendency to miss. That's Max Scherzer, who had 20 strikeouts in a game this year. So it's Scherzer, the guy who throws a lot of strikeouts, and Jaime Garcia, who makes bad contact.
And that is our Budweiser What's on Tap. This should be a great matchup between these two. For game number 2 of the 4-game set, Max Scherzer, Jaime Garcia going for St. Louis. Nationals, Cardinals, next on Fox Sports Midwest. Is brought to you by Bud Light. Raise 1-2 right now. By Chevrolet. Visit your local Mid-America Chevy dealer for great prices on the all-new 2016 Malibu. And by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. They call this Pets in the Park. It's a night where you need to have Trevor Beckwith in the booth with you.
Best in show. That's right. Fred Willard, Mary Catherine O'Hara.
Jim Hayes, Tim McCarver, Dan McLaughlin with you. 83 degrees from National Park in Washington, D.C. A look at the Cardinals lineup. Greg Garcia will lead it off, followed by Aledmys Diaz. He had a home run last night. He's now up 2-7. Matt Holliday, Stephen Piscotty, Brandon Moss at first base. No Matt Adams. He is available tonight. Yadier Molina 0 for his last 8. Rando Grichuk, Colton Wong, and the pitcher Jaime Garcia. And on the mound for the Washington Nationals, one of the game's best in Max Scherzer.
Yeah, the odd thing right there is that earned run average, 3.80 earned run average. And the reason for that is Max Scherzer has given up an uncharacteristic 14 home runs this year. We mentioned he struck out 20 Detroit Tigers, one of the best lineups in the game. That was back on May 11th. He actually struck out 20 and with 26 outs, so he had an out to go. He could have been the first guy ever to strike out 21, but a fielder's choice, and he struck out 20. Not too shabby.
Look at Dusty Baker, picked up win number 1700 of his managerial career. As you get a look at his defense, and Around the Horn is presented by Dobbs. So here's Garcia. He was 1 for 1, having been recalled because of Matt Carpenter on the paternity list, and he also walked.
All Greg Garcia has done with the Cardinals this year is hit.
That's all he's done. Gets a chance to play here at the big league level. Multiple stints now, going up and down last couple of years, and it seems like every time he's up, he hits.
He gets on base somehow, either a walk or a base hit.
And there's a strike. 2-1. Scherzer, 31-year-old from St. Louis, pitched at Parkway Central High School and the University of Missouri. Fastball to even it up at 2-2. He actually was originally drafted by the Cardinals, 43rd round back in 2003. Did not sign, went to Mizzou, won 16 games, 3 years at the university. And Mizzou just finished up their season with a first-round loss in the SEC tournament against Vanderbilt, and they finished their year at 26-30. 3-2 pitch, and it's a leadoff walk for Greg Garcia. His 6th walk. The Hyundai pitch arsenal for Max Scherzer. Fastball, slider, curve, and change.
The slider has really made Max Scherzer into the pitcher that he is today. When he signed, primarily fastball, 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 the scouts said, what a great arm. But he has learned a good slider. He has learned a good changeup, and is quite a different pitcher than he was 10 years ago. And obviously his salary indicates that.
One of the biggest contracts in baseball history.
Yep.
First pitch popped up by Diaz into shallow right. Coming on Bryce Harper, calling for it. 1 away. Matt Holliday was not in the starting lineup for game 1 of this series. Came off the bench as a pinch hitter. And in the starting lineup tonight, batting .231, 7 home runs. He's driven in 24. The deal that Scherzer signed, 7 years, $210 million. The short lead at first by Garcia. And so far he has produced 2 no-hitters. Did that last year against the Pirates and the Mets. He went 14-12, and he racked up 276 strikeouts along the way. And that's hit out to deep center field. Rivera going back and makes the catch on the track, and Garcia back to the bag at first.
Matt Holliday hitting that ball to the wrong part of the field. There's a cutout right at the 402 sign, and the deepest part of this ballpark is right to the left of that. And it's about, I'd say, 407 feet right there at that crease. And Ben Revere tracking it down, playing Holliday, of course, deep as you do all the big guys.
In steps Piscotty with 2 outs and a runner at first. He's hit safely in 15 of his last 18. Did pick up a base hit into center field last night, 1 for 4.
There's that slider, first one of the night for Scherzer.
You watch him when he comes to the stretch. Sometimes he'll hurry to the plate. Other times he really holds the baseball for a long time. Disrupt the rhythm of the runner. And there's a fly ball into shallow center. Backing up the shortstop Espinosa. After a leadoff walk, the Cardinals go in order. Washington coming up in the bottom of the first. Here, the leadoff man for the Nationals, followed by Jason Worth and Bryce Harper. Then Daniel Murphy leads the league in hitting at .394. Ryan Zimmerman, Anthony Rendon 2 for 3 last night. Wilson Ramos, Danny Espinosa, and the pitcher Max Scherzer. On the mound for the Cardinals, left-hander Jaime Garcia.
Jaime's run into the different problems. Of course, the Cardinals, their offensive numbers are down, so problems there. Problems with the starting pitchers. Problems on many fronts for St. Louis. But Jaime had a great start to the season, but his last 2 starts, his earned run average over 9. Highly unusual. Has not had the movement in the fastball that he had earlier in the year.
And the first hitter he'll face is Ben Revere. Batting .184, 1 home runs. He's driven in 6. And looks at a strike. So the 10th start of the season for Jaime Garcia. And coming off his toughest outing of the year. 2 1/3, 5 runs, 10 hits. That was at home against Arizona. We know, Tim, how good he is at home. He rarely loses. And if he does, normally he goes pretty deep into the game.
Yeah, feels very comfortable on the Busch Mound in St. Louis.
Here's a 1-1 pitch. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Obviously, the Cardinals struggling. They win that first game against Chicago. Then they lost the last 2 and then lost a tough game last night, 2-1. 3 home runs in the game, 1 by the Cardinals and Diaz, 2 by Harper and Espinosa of the Nats. Nobody said it would be easy, and it hasn't been for the Cardinals thus far, particularly in May.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. Reaching for it and a base hit into center field. Cardinals defense as we go around the horn with Holiday, Grichuk, and Piscotty in the outfield. Greg Garcia, he's at third base. Diaz, Wong, Moss round out the infield with Yadier Molina behind the plate. Jason Worth batting .224. 6 home runs. He has driven in 20. Remember when Jason Worth was with the Phillies and they were trying to figure out what kind of player he might be? Then became an integral part of those championship teams that they had. Signed a huge deal here with the Nationals, and a deal that really opened up some eyes. It's in year 6 of a 7-year contract that pays him well above $100 million.
Jason signing originally with the Dodgers as a catcher. Dodgers should have realized that when you're that tall, it's very difficult to be a good catcher. There aren't too many catchers who are 6'5". It's a position that if you're going to give a low target and you're 6'5", you got to bring somebody else in there to give the target for you.
He had a nice sliding catch last night in left center. And also the fact is too, especially in his younger days, he could run. I mean, you could clearly see
good base runner. Yeah, you're right. Still a little sneaky on the bases.
Rivera with 2 stolen bases this year and a base hit into left. So base hit for Jason Worth into left field following the single by Rivera. And here's a look at Arcia in the driver's seat. The career against St. Louis for Bryce Harper. First home run in a couple of years against St. Louis was last night. The ball that he hit off the facade of the upper deck. But for the most part, the Cardinals have kept him in check.
How about that? Tonight, wearing batting gloves. Hit the home run last night without batting gloves.
You mentioned that to me after the game. I had not picked that up, but yes.
I didn't pick it up when he hit the home run either, Dan. But his last at bat, he has always worn 2 gloves. Some hitters wear only the bottom hand has a glove on it. There are very few hitters that go nakedly to the handle of the bat and holding the bat in the major leagues. Matt Carpenter's one of them.
Anthony Rizzo of the Cubs, who, by the way, win again today. Cubs are on fire. Terrific start, and the team to catch right now in the Central Division.
They were the team to catch in the Central Division in December.
Signing of Jason Hayward and Ben Zobrist, who has been terrific. Runners at first and second, and the 1-1 pitch to Harper. Hit sharply to the right side. Out at second. It's a double play.
Great play by Wong. Perfect feed. Outside part of the bag. Big 2 outs. Garcia always only 1 pitch away from that double play ball. A lot of ground balls hit against him. This ball is scorched to the right side. Look at Wong. That's a beauty.
And a little pick-me-up maybe for Jaime Garcia,
yes,
too.
Yes, sir.
Now you have Daniel Murphy, who is not only leading the league in hitting, but he's been good against righties, lefties. It doesn't matter.
.388 hitter against left-handed pitching.
He has 39 hits here in the month of May. The all-time record for the Nationals franchise in terms of hits in a month is Denard Span. He had 40 in August of 2014.
Dan, if you're Ben Revere, you can go almost halfway to home plate, because Greg Garcia at third is playing way in the hole. So on a short wild pitch, watch for Revere to try to score.
He's got to be down the line even more than he is.
Got to be. You're right. I mean, normally base runners fear Yadi Molina for good reason, but I mean, this is ridiculous. Look how far Garcia is off the line.
And he's taking a traditional secondary lead after the pitch.
Yeah, you're right.
He could be a third of the way right now and halfway by the time it's to the plate.
That's right.
And the ground ball that's hit to the right side, and Colton Wong, a nice inning defensively. No damage done after 2 base hits. Good work by Wong and Garcia to get out of the first inning jam. No score, top of the second here in Washington as we turn to Tim's Toyota key to the game.
We talked about it earlier. Nobody said it would be easy, and boy, were they ever right. It has been a tough May for the Cardinals. They have lost some very, very tough ball games, and it's a time to buckle that belt a notch tighter and go get them.
Brandon Moss hitting .218, 8 home runs, driven in 23. See, Scherzer gets upset when he misses with a pitch. He is so competitive. They say that he's one of the fiery guys on this staff and one of the most competitive in all of baseball.
And sometimes he's dragging that arm the last 2 pitches when he's low and away to left-handed batters. That arm's dragging, body's in front of the arm.
Leadoff walk to Moss, just like the first inning. You can follow the Cardinals live with the MLB.com @bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with Game Day Live, video highlights, StatCast, news, and more. #1 app for live baseball on your phone or tablet.
Dan, one of the problems the Cardinals have had, they've gotten the hits. They'll get 2 out, nobody on, get a couple of base runners, then the inning's over. What they need to do is bunch the hits at the beginning of the inning. They had a little bit of a problem last year with that, and did a lot better in the middle of the season.
Here's the 0-1 pitch to Yadier Molina. And a double play ball. Murphy flips, double play. Not sure he needed to make the flip, but man, did it look nice.
Well, his momentum was going forward. Dan Murphy is not, he doesn't make his money on defense. That's a tough play. If he stops and goes towards second, reverses his momentum, it's going to be a tougher play than giving it to Espinosa, who's going toward first base. I think he made the right play.
They have now turned 5 double plays in this series against the Cardinals. Here's Randall Grichuk. And Grichuk hits it down the left field line and yanks it foul. Did not start in game 1, but came off the bench after the injury to Matt Adams.
I texted you about Jim Edmonds' comment the other day about Randall Grichuk when Jim said that Randall has the same swing for every pitch, and for the most part he's right on the money as far as Randall is concerned, because the adjustment comes because the pitchers are not going to make the same pitches in the same areas, and that's what Jim that was the point that he made, and made it very, very well.
Now, one thing he did do, especially in the series against the Cubs, was take the ball the other way.
That's right. Almost after Edmonds had made those comments about him. One was a game winner, and that was the last game the Cardinals won. A walk-off home run to right field.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. Hits it to right. Shallow. Harper is there. Midway through 2, and there's no score. Bottom of the second. We saw Matt Adams lead the game early last night. With more on that, let's check in with Jimmy.
Dan, he told me he felt his back stiffening up on a swing before he singled in the 4th last night. It never got any better. He left the game with what the Cardinals called mid-back stiffness. Adams told me he felt better when he woke up this morning, and the back wasn't an issue when he got in a workout today and took some swings in the indoor cage. He told me he was good to go for tonight. Mike Matheny says Adams didn't start tonight just to give him a little bit more time, and that's a good thing, Danny, because as you know, Big City is red hot.
He certainly is. There's a ground ball stabbed by Diaz off the bat of Zimmerman for the first out here in the bottom of the second. Take a look at the Hyundai pitch arsenal here for Jaime Garcia. Fastball, slider, the cutter, and change.
You know, there's so much topspin on that ball. That was a sneaky, very good play by Diaz, because it was a high hopper that stayed down for the last hop, the hop that was fielded by Aledmus, and he made a very nice play.
You could see that surprised him too.
Yeah, it did. Sure, it would surprise you. You're getting a high bounder, and now all of a sudden the ball's hugging the ground.
Strike to Anthony Rendon. Mentioned he had 2 hits last night. Last 16 games, 357, 5 doubles, and he's driven in 9. He's among the league leaders in runs scored. You just wonder, Tim, because Garcia, and there is a big difference home and road. You just wonder how big of a play that was by Cole Long off the bat of Harper, not only in the inning, but maybe this entire game, as it could set the tone for Jaime Garcia.
It certainly can. That was as well a turned double play as Wong has been involved with this year, in my opinion.
just joined us, the Cardinals were looking at Harper up, runners at first and second. Nobody out, and a hard hit ball to Wong's left, and he spun and turned two. The 0-2 pitch. Remember, Jaime saw the Nationals back on April 30th. 4 runs over 6 1/3 in a 6-1 loss. It was just one bad inning. And then outside of that, he was vintage Garcia. Overall, 7 starts against the Nats with a record of 4-2.
Yeah, and the Cardinals have not beaten Washington this year. They've lost 4 in a row.
Going back to last year, 5 straight. The 2-2 pitch.
Very few times will Garcia come inside to right-handed batters. If he makes a mistake, it's going to be away.
And he walked him. 1-out walk. And it brings in Wilson Ramos. First walk issued by Garcia. .333 his average, 1 for 3 last night. So your runner at first is Rendon. He has 5 stolen bases this year. Keep an eye on him. Outfield for the most part straight away. And the first pitch to Wilson Ramos is hit out of play. Big congratulations to Gabe and Dana Kiley. Welcomed a new sister for Marissa and Nora. Lydia Claire Kiley. Family is doing great. Congratulations to the couple. And Gabe, a longtime employee with the St. Louis Cardinals. Oh, 1 pitch in the dirt. 1 ball, 1 strike. Mentioned it earlier, but Dusty Baker with win number 1700 last night, and he is second among active managers behind Bruce Bochy. Bochy at 1,732. Dusty had a great playing career, 19 years as a player in the big leagues. Here's a 1-1. Instead, a check on the runner at first. That's Rendon.
We talked about Henry Aaron and his 755 home runs last night, and it was Dusty Baker who was on deck when Henry Aaron broke Babe Ruth's record. Home run number 715 at Fulton County Stadium in Atlanta.
Still has the toothpick. He's got the wristbands. He is ready to go. Good jump by Rendon. Throw by Molina is not in time.
Yachty can't do anymore. Usually that's the case. Clear situation where Rendon stole off Jaime Garcia. Good read, good jump, and the throw was right on the money, but too late.
All your years of baseball, whether it be playing, and certainly you were involved in a lot of running games and trying to stop them, or even broadcasting.
I didn't have the equipment, though, Dan, that Yachty has behind the plate.
Well, not many people do.
No, no.
But the question would be, have you found it, when you talk to great base stealers, easier against a righty or a lefty?
A right-hander. I know Lou Brock's line. I know Lou Brock. Lou has always said that it was easier for him against left-handed pitching than it was right-handers. I didn't find in talking to guys who could run. Davey Lopes, for instance, who's the first base coach for Dusty Baker. Great base stealer in his own right, but almost all of them say right-handers.
Well, you figure if a lefty's got a good move, it's got to be tough to get that read.
Yeah. Well, the read, as we said last night, when that right foot goes behind the left leg, you take off. The reason for that is once that happens, a left-hander must come home. Otherwise, it's a ball.
Here's Espinosa. And the home run last night against St. Louis proved to be the game winner in a 2-1 final. Getting Ramos out with a man in scoring position is big. He came in hitting .395. Runners in scoring position. Espinosa, all 4 of his home runs this year hit from the other side of the plate. And 3 of his 4 home runs hit against St. Louis this year.
Even though I don't think you pitch around him right here. I mean, Scherzer's hitting better than Espinosa. Espinosa 201 average. Scherzer, the on deck, the starting pitcher, batting .227, and this Nationals pitching staff can hit. They lead the National League in batting average. So pitching around the 8th place hitter with 2 outs, a little more involved with this team.
Count is even. 1 ball, 1 strike. Make it 1-2. The Cardinals have not been under .500 after May 12th in a season since 2007.
Gee, that is a marvelous statistic.
And tonight they come in at 24-24.
Now think about that.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it really is.
In 2007, really a lost year for the club after winning the championship the year before. Opening night was against the Mets. Sunday Night Baseball. Chris Carpenter made that start, had to leave, then leaves the season because of Tommy John surgery. And the Cardinals, it just seemed like they were always playing catch-up. They made a little run in September, got fairly close to the Cubs, and then in a doubleheader at Busch Stadium, they were swept. Alfonso Soriano had a big home run, and the season was over. 2008 was an okay year. 2009 back in the playoffs. And then 2011 until now, it's been postseason play. Here's a 1-2 pitch, and he tied him up.
Big out right there. Now you got the pitcher leading off the 3rd inning.
41st time that Espinosa has struck out. First strikeout for Jaime Garcia here tonight. Sends us to the 3rd with Juan Garcia and Greg Garcia all coming up. St. Louis Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. And by Steel Outdoor Power Equipment, quality, reliability, and value. Find a servicing Steel dealer at steeldealers.com or search STIHL. You know, we were talking about the great Lou Brock and the Hall of Famer. Pretty famous date in Cardinals history. May 27th, 1975. Lou Brock hits for the cycle against San Diego. Now, the Cardinals joined the National League in 1892. Since that time, 17 Cardinals have hit for the cycle. Since Lou, it's been Willie McGee, Ray Langford, John Mabry hit for the natural cycle, and Mark Grudzielanek. And what made the cycle for Lou Brock not only special to get the cycle, but the manner in which he picked up one of his hits. The cycle, by the way, for Lou Brock would have been taken away. He picked up a triple by rounding third, thinking that he was going to go home for an inside the park home run, which would have been his second. And instead,
he stopped.
He got tagged rounding third, so it's a triple.
How about that?
And if he would have,
if he had been tagged going before he got to third base, it would have been a double.
Right. So no triple.
Oh my gosh. How
so
about that?
If he goes home and makes it, it's 2 home runs. You don't have your triple.
Man.
And then you don't have your cycle.
Sure. That was his only cycle too.
That's right.
Man.
We talked about that in our Evening with Lou in our speaker series. Trying to find some of those unique moments with Lou Brock, and that certainly is one of them.
Well, let me tell you, and I've told you before, he was a bone-crushing base runner. When he hit, it stuck. When he took you out of a play at home plate, it stuck. It happened to me twice. Once in St. Louis, once in Philadelphia.
Popped up on the infield. Rendon puts it away.
Yeah. The days before the concussions, and believe me, I had 2 because of those 2 collisions.
Baseball night in America returns tomorrow. Cardinals take on the Nationals. 6 p.m. only on Fox. Watch it live on Fox Sports Go. And you've told me so many times too with Lou Brock. Never saw him in the trainer's room.
Never. Never. Toughest guy I ever played with. I mean, all of them.
So Lou Brock, you have to thank for 2 concussions.
Right. At least.
There's a base hit for Jaime Garcia.
He hit me so hard in St. Louis, I might have had 3 in one night. I mean, it was bone rattling. I knew he was coming too. It was a short fly ball. Willie Montañez was the base runner for the, I beg your pardon, he was the right fielder for the Phillies. And I was the catcher, of course. It was a shallow fly ball, and Lou used to take chances. And Lou came in, and I mean, I caught the ball and looked, and Lou's belt buckle was right in front of me. And I mean, my neck went through a series of crunching blows, and I was out. I walked under my own power into the clubhouse, but I was out.
Did you ever talk to him about those instances?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
He remembers them quite well too.
Oh yeah.
You 2 got into it in a brawl too.
We did. We had a fight in Philadelphia, 1971.
Here's an 0-1 pitch to Garcia. Walked his first time up.
That's a balk.
So they,
somebody called time.
Somebody called time.
Home plate umpire. We talked about a pitcher maybe hurting himself last night. When you're in, that's a very violent activity.
Oh, 0-1 pitch. can understand why Max Scherzer is none too pleased with that call that late.
That's right. We've seen pitchers hurt ankles. Such a violent delivery. Your shoulder, your elbow.
Very short lead at first by Jaime Garcia. The 0-2 to Greg, and now time called again.
Can you believe that?
Wow.
Man.
That is Alan Porter, the home plate umpire.
You don't know whether the catcher Wilson Ramos called time
Or was it Garcia?
Or Greg Garcia.
It wasn't.
Yeah, he said no. He said, I didn't call time.
0-2 pitch. Well, not only could you hurt Scherzer, but then out of frustration, Greg Garcia is thinking one's going to come in my ribs. Wouldn't blame him for thinking that way.
No.
This is the most I can remember Scherzer really talking to himself after pitches and frustrated, whether it be with the time that was called or just not hitting spots.
Looks to me like his body's in front of his arm. It's that simple.
The 2-2.
Notice the balls that he's throwing to left-handed batters are balls that are outside, not inside. And that's an indication of the body being in front of the arm. The body proceeds or precedes the arm. There's Mike Maddox, pitching coach for Dusty Baker, and a good one.
Runner not going, and the pitch is taken for a ball. Greg Garcia draws the walk.
Again outside.
So 3 walks issued by Max Scherzer tonight, 2 to Greg Garcia.
You know what you could do as a catcher? You could go out and tell him, look, I may want the pitch away to left-handed batters, but I'm going to sit inside. And if you set up inside, that in itself, by having the target inside, brings the arm through the strike zone. It brings the arm in with the body. But if you keep trying to throw for the outside part of the plate, you're going to keep missing away. Because again, the arm is not catching up to the body.
2 runners on and Aledmys Diaz, first man in scoring position tonight for the Cardinals. That pitch had a little extra jump on it.
That had some gas in it. Yeah.
Scherzer made his debut in 2008 out of the pen for Arizona. Retired the first 13 batters he ever faced. Major league record for a debut and a relief appearance. Next season he picked up his first ever win. The 0-1, and that's pulled foul. 2010 Scherzer went to Detroit, 3-team deal with Arizona, the Tigers, and the Yankees. He had a Cy Young season while wearing that Tigers uniform. Started the year 13-0, finished 21-3 with 240 strikeouts. Pretty darn good. The 0-2.
Remember, you're the guy who called it to my attention, was the few strikeouts that Diaz has. What's he have, 16 right now?
Right now it's at 16. For a young player.
Oh, I'm telling you. Confirming with Mike Matheny again before the game about nobody plays the game more unafraid than Aledmys Diaz on the Cardinals.
Good play by Ramos to keep it out in front. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. I think you're really seeing that, Tim, that he's not afraid defensively. He's been really charging the ball hard, not staying back on those ground balls.
I mean, he has 10 errors, and some guys who have that many errors for young people, that all of a sudden, you know, you're afraid to do things that you would normally do, but not him.
1 ball, 2 strikes on the Cardinals shortstop. Diaz, base hit into left. They'll hold up the runner at third. That's Jaime Garcia.
Anybody else, Chris Maloney sends him with 1 out. Jaime Garcia, you may remember, hurt his leg in Miami last year, rounding third. But look at this ball right here. This ball's off on the ground. And Diaz with a line drive to left field. A good break by Garcia. But I'm sure Chris Maloney, I mean, you can't be the third base coach and not remember that fateful night in Miami.
That's a great point.
When Jaime Garcia hurt his leg last year.
Also makes it a little bit easier where you're at in the lineup too, knowing Holiday's coming up.
Yep.
If you're in the bottom of the lineup, you might think about it. Bases loaded, 1 out. Holiday sent one to deep center field back in the first inning. Strike 1. Saw in the final game of the Cubs series an opposite field home run off the bat of Holiday. His 7th this year. He has driven in 24. Big gap in right center. 0-1 pitch. Now 0-2.
How many times have the Cardinals through the first 2 months of the season been in frustrating predicaments like this? Now it's 0-2 to Holiday. You've got to make contact and try to get that run home. Sometimes Cardinal hitters try too hard.
One ball, 2 strikes. Take a look at the grip that he'll use with this next pitch.
Tell you, for me, it's a slider low and away. I don't know what he's going to do. It looks like a slider grip too.
1-2 it is.
Remembering that 0-1 pitch to Holiday. He'll probably do it again. We'll see. Slider grip.
The 2-2 pitch.
Oops. What was that dead wrong?
He may go with a fastball just because of his lack of command.
He just did that. We'll see. This is
now you go 3-2 with the bases loaded.
But what happened was it was the same grip for the fastball as it was for the slider. Four-seamer.
The 3-2. Inside to Holiday, and it's 1-0 St. Louis with a bases loaded walk.
How about that?
4 walks already.
4 straight balls to Matt Holliday too. 0-2. Frustrating. Took the fastball for a strike. And then the slider. 0-2. And then 4 straight balls. Walks him.
Missouri Lottery Fox Tracks. That ball just taking off up and in, and clearly a ball, and now the Cardinals have a 1-run lead. RBI number 25 for Holiday, and here's Piscotty, who has been the best with runners in scoring position this year for St. Louis. Inning started with a pop out on the infield off the bat of Wong. Then Garcia, the first base hit for the Cardinals tonight, single to right. Garcia, remember, Greg Garcia was in the hole with 2 strikes. He earned the walk. Diaz Ball about 2 inches off the ground. He singled to left, and then the bases loaded walk to Holiday. Here's an 0-1 pitch to Stephen Piscotty. Piscotty with a high fly ball. Left field. It's at the track. Whoa! Grand slam! Stephen Piscotty, a grand slam for St. Louis. And it's 5-0, and the issues with the home run ball continue for Max Scherzer.
Abundant smiles in the Cardinal dugout. How few times we've seen that over the last week. Here's Diaz getting in on some of Piscotty's action. Of course, Diaz got that big hit on a ball off the ground.
Sure
what
did.
an inning.
Home run number 6 for Piscotty. He's up to 30 driven in this year.
I think that's his first grand slam, isn't it?
I believe so.
Wow. What a moment for Stephen Piscotty. And again, striking with runners in scoring position. And then some.
It's fouled back. 25 of the 33 runs Scherzer has given up this year have come via the home run.
Yeah, we talk about that pitch and how dangerous that spinner is. We're going to try to get a better shot of Scherzer delivering that flat cement mixer of that pitch goes farther than any other pitch in my experience. That flat slider that all it does is spin over the middle of the plate. Guys have hit that a long way. And that's what Piscotty hit.
And a strikeout of Moss, the first of the night for Scherzer. So it's really been an issue for Max Scherzer. The home runs allowed, Kubota Power Stats, that's updated now. He's given up 15, most in the major leagues this year. Go back to the home run pitch. Here's what you're talking about,
Watch
Tim.
the right hand. See, the right hand gets under the ball, and there's no downward action, and Scherzer knew it. When a pitcher turns toward first base after the ball is hit, he doesn't need to see it, doesn't want to see it, can't stand to see it.
Oh, pitch to Molina. Hit to the right side. Murphy, a nice play to his left. And the inning comes to a close. Scherzer gives up 5, highlighted by the grand slam off the bat of Piscotty. Back to Stephen Piscotty and his grand slam and the pitch by Max Scherzer.
It's very simple. Watch where the ball comes out of Max Scherzer's hand. It can have downward movement. It cannot have downward movement. It's got to stay at least on an even plane. And that's what happens. And those balls go a long way, as Stephen Piscotty proves once again.
Here's Scherzer, Revere, and Worth. Not only was the at-bat by Piscotty huge for obvious reasons, but Holiday down 0-2 draws a walk.
Oh, absolutely. Garcia, the walk.
Aledmys Diaz, a ball that's maybe 2 inches off the ground and singles to left.
Right. Cardinals earned it that inning, I'll tell you.
Sure did. This season, Max Scherzer 5 for 22, and as Tim said, collectively the Nationals pitchers have been the best in the National League swinging the bat. Maybe you get a look at it there, the 2 colored eyes that Max Scherzer has. A genetic anomaly that affects 1 in about 500 people. He has a brown eye and a blue eye. There's 1 out after the strikeout of Jaime Garcia, living on the long ball. Nearly 42% of the runs scored for the Cardinals this season via the home run.
Totally opposite of last year.
Just didn't see it coming out of spring training.
Nope.
Cardinals now have hit 66 home runs. It's second behind the Mets. And a strike to Revere. It's chopped off the plate in foul. So we've talked about how Scherzer has given up the most home runs in all of baseball. 9 of the 15 he's allowed have been solo shots. So when he gives them up, they've been of minimal damage, but not tonight. One out, nobody on. Revere singled on a 1-2 pitch to center his first time up, and takes a pitch inside. Jaime Garcia from Reynosa, Mexico. Moved from Mexico to Texas when he was entering high school, and this past off season he returned home through an organization called Strategic Alliance. Helped build homes, funded others, brought back baseball equipment. Into right, and the catch made by Stephen Piscotty. It's always nice to hear about the players that do give back, and Garcia was so touched by that, what he was able to do. He's going back again this upcoming offseason.
There are an awful lot of good things done by a lot of players. Sometimes you hear about them, sometimes you don't.
June 3rd, 30,000 fans ages 16 and older have the opportunity to take home a replica of the 2006 World Series trophy. Tickets at cardinals.com/promotions. And it wasn't like Jaime was out looking for, all the publicity for that. It was a story that a few of us heard about. But you do like to hear about guys that do give back. And Jaime will tell you he, for the most part, grew up fairly poor. Dad did everything he could to make sure he was in the right situation for educational purposes and for athletics as well. That's why they moved to Texas. Jason Worth at the plate, single to left, and a couple of hops hit to short. Diaz, the throw up the line and in and out of the glove of Moss, and Worth is safe.
Yeah, if that's going to be an error, it should be on Brandon Moss. I mean, that ball's got to be caught, and you tag the runner. That's a routine play. I know the throw was errant, But that's a play you see 1,000 times. I mean, not a lot to do. You catch that ball and tag the runner. He tried to close the glove too quickly. Brandon did, that is. Garcia trying to keep that from being a costly error because of this guy being up. It would have been a perfect scenario going into the 5th inning. Because then you have Harper batting with nobody on base.
Bryce Harper, first overall pick back in 2010. Year before, his teammate Steven Strasburg. That's big right there. 1 pitch extra for Garcia, and it's to Bryce Harper, and the catch is made by Greg Garcia. So he pitches around the air. We've completed 3, and it's 5-0 St. Louis. Dan McLaughlin, 81 degrees, very muggy here in our nation's capital. As we kick off Memorial Day weekend, be safe, have fun, enjoy a little baseball. It's 5-0 St. Louis. And with us being here in Washington, remember what Memorial Day is all about.
Well said, partner.
Ritchik, fly ball into shallow left, and there is Jason Worth. You know, Jason Worth had a glove that he used for 12 years of his big league career. And then he said, I just couldn't do it anymore. It was getting too flimsy. And certain guys have a glove that they call their gamer, as you know, Tim. There's other guys that have the infield practice or outfield practice glove. You got your gamer.
Well, you don't have an infield or outfield practice glove now because there's no infield taken.
That's true.
So really all you need is one glove.
Right. You don't see it very often anymore. Here's Colton Wong, who popped out his first time and grounds it to Daniel Murphy. Quickly, 2 outs. We'll see if Scherzer now gets settled in.
The oldest, sloppiest rag of a glove that I'd ever seen in my experience in the major leagues was Bill Mazeroski's glove at second base.
Really?
It was disgraceful. I told him once, I said, you should not be allowed on a major league diamond with a glove like that.
Flimsy,
that's the worst thing. It was awful. And he started laughing and he said, you know, I'm so used to this thing because the ball never gets in the pocket because there isn't one. He said that. He said right? It doesn't get to the pocket because there isn't one. And I looked at it and I said, that is the ugliest looking thing. I've ever heard of. There's no way you'd ever sign a contract with anybody for that thing, because they'd be afraid to show it.
Well, Mazeroski not known for his glove, but for one hit.
Oh yeah, but Maz was
good player.
Was the quickest at second base. He wasn't the second baseman, in my opinion, that Julian Javier was. Of course, I played with Juli for a decade, but the ball never seemed to touch his hands on a double play.
Quick.
I mean, that of course is one of the more modern gloves. This is a glove used by a Hall of Famer, Bill Mazeroski, back in the late 50s, 60s. It was tacky.
Pretty famous walk-off home run too.
I'll say.
Two strikeouts for Max Scherzer. The Cardinals from the Mets. Matt Bowman working out of the St. Louis bullpen. With more on him, let's check in with Jim.
Dan, there was a very bright play-by-play guy who said he noticed some similarities in the deliveries of Matt Bowman and Tim Lincecum. That's because Bowman modeled his delivery after Lincecum. Bowman telling me when he was young he saw Lincecum was not a huge guy but still threw hard. Bowman said that appealed to him, but over the years he's changed some of the elements of his delivery because being a power pitcher, quote, that's not my game. He also said he never went full Lincecum, letting the hair grow out. But Dan Bowman grew up a Nationals fan in nearby Chevy Chase, Maryland. He told me he was at the Nationals' first game at RFK and their first game here at Nationals Park, so getting a chance to possibly pitch here is a big thrill for him.
Now Daniel Murphy with a pitch up and in, and thank you, Jimmy. Not sure if that hit him or not.
I think it hit him. Thought it hit him in the back. Looked like the right shoulder. Tried to get out of the way of it.
Oh yeah.
A little skimmer off the top of the shoulder.
Lucky it wasn't his neck or his head.
Yeah. Fortunately for Daniel, I mean, with a 5-run lead and everything going Garcia's way, no intent right there. Unless it's something that we don't know about. How about Molina catching it after it caroms off the shoulder? How many guys can do that? What a set of hands.
So Bowman grows up in this area, becomes a fan of the Nationals, now playing the team that he grew up cheering for. As you get a look at Ryan Zimmerman. It's hard to forget about Game 5 of the 2012 postseason. Cardinals erased a 6-run hole, you may recall. Then in the 9th inning, game-tying 2-run single from Daniel Descalso. Go-ahead 2-run single from Pete Kozma. Good play by Wong to get the lead man, and the stretch by Diaz. Don't miss the Cardinals Alumni Kids Clinics presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors, coming to a ball field near you. These one-day clinics teach boys and girls ages 7 to 13 baseball fundamentals from former Cardinal greats. Register your child now at cardinals.com/clinics. What do you think, Tim?
I'm thinking back to that game, and when you think about it, that was almost a carryover of that 2011 Game 6.
Right.
It was so dramatic.
Twice the Cardinals again down to their final strike in back-to-back years.
Like in the 9th and 10th innings of Game 6.
Incredible. In back-to-back years.
Mike Matheny's first year as the manager of the Cardinals.
Cardinals were the last team, you may remember, to qualify for the postseason, and it was the first year of the wild card. And they went down to Atlanta for that one-game playoff in an infield fly rule that wasn't ruled in favor of the Braves gives the Cardinals a win. And then they come to Washington, Game 5, down by 6 runs. You're thinking, well, it's over. It was a great run in 2011, fun run in 12. It's over. And then the Cardinals come back, and then eventually they had a 3-1 lead at home against the San Francisco Giants and couldn't close them out. The runs the Cardinals have had in recent history, that one stings a little bit because Barry Zito kind of rediscovered himself in that postseason. You may recall he's thrown about 80 miles an hour.
1-2.
That's right.
Yeah, an 80-mile-an-hour, 57-mile-an-hour curveball. Chance of Barry. No, it wasn't for the other Barry.
Nope. 0-2 on Anthony Rendon. 5-0 Cardinals. If you just joined us, grand slam by Stephen Piscotty, a bases loaded walk for Matt Holliday to account for the 5 runs. Be interesting to see where it all plays out this year. Both these teams expected to contend. Nationals 10 games above 500 at the start of play tonight. And the Cardinals coming off a 100-win campaign a season ago. And it all begins and ends, it seems like, with these starters. If they get decent starting pitching, they win.
No question about it. Right on the money.
You agree. I can't remember a ball getting through Molina this year where it's just been, you know, guys get tired, maybe a little lazy on a ball, they don't block it. I just think he's gotten better and better in that facet of the game.
I had one bad game with Garcia starting, and one game
in Arizona.
Yeah. Game that we did together.
That's right.
But aside from that, that's about it. Boy, that ball right on the corner. That's the thing about Garcia. Hitters have a tendency to give up on a pitch like that because Rendon thought the ball was going to be outside. But that little dart at the end, strike 3. Right there.
Third strikeout for Garcia. Brings in Wilson Ramos. Fly to shallow center. Colton Wong, the Cardinals' second baseman, went out, made the catch. 2 outs, runner at first. That's Daniel Murphy, and that pitch is taken low. Since 1995, that's when the division series came into being. Only 19% of the teams with the best record have won the World Series. So finishing first doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win the World Series. And now more than ever, having to go through 3 rounds, potentially a postseason play.
Well, it means you've had a good season, but it doesn't mean you've had a good October, because October is just beginning.
And I was looking.
Cardinals know that from last year.
Sure. of the 111 World Series played, I was looking at this today, only 38% of the teams with the best record have won. Grounder hit to Greg Garcia, over to Brandon Moss. Nationals strand a runner. They've left 4 on. St. Louis on top as we move to inning number 5. All right, thank you, Scotty. The pitch popped up by Garcia, a 19-year-old.
Dan, you and I, a 19-year-old, you and I were talking about it before the game. It's the youngest left-handed Dodgers starter since Sandy Koufax in 1955.
It's amazing,
isn't it? That unbelievable?
You might think Fernando, but no, they say Sandy Koufax.
Yeah.
Garcia is the first out in inning number 5. Well, here's something we were talking about prior to going to the break. The best overall record in the National League, and these two teams have owned that, one or the other, the last 4 years. Cardinals 2012, they beat Washington. 13, they make it to the World Series, lose to Boston. Nationals, questionable decision about how to play an extra inning game in San Francisco by Matt Williams, and then last year the Cardinals ousted by the Chicago Cubs.
Or the decision by Matt Williams to take his starter out of there and bring in Drew Storen. And the Giants tied it and then won it in the 18th on a home run by Brandon Belt.
Here's Aledmys Diaz. And a fly ball into shallow right center. And the catch made by Ben Revere. Relive one of the best moments in Cardinals history. That Saturday, June 4th, 30,000 fans ages 16 and older receive an Adam Wainwright, Yadier Molina dual bobblehead commemorating the last out of the 06 World Series, and that strikeout of Brandon Inge. It's courtesy of Central Bank of St. Louis. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/promotions.
We just saw the Blues wrap up a great season, and congratulations certainly in order to them. But I think the Blues have taught us in hockey that the postseason is totally different from the regular season, and the Cardinals have taught everybody in St. Louis that that is certainly the case in October. Throw away everything you've done during the season. Now it's a new season, and is it ever terrifying at times? Golden State Warrior fans are saying that right now. What is it, 3-2 now?
3-2 after their win last night.
Thunder over Golden State, a team that won 73 regular season games.
It's incredible.
It really is.
And a strikeout of Holiday. Number 3 tonight for Max Scherzer. He's starting to settle in. Greater coverage of Major League Baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. Jackie Bradley Jr. saw his hit streak come to a close at 29 games last night. John Lester today, 6 1/3. Cubs win their 3rd consecutive game. 2 of those against St. Louis. Cole Hamels starts tonight against Pittsburgh. He's 5-0. No face a lefty, Jonathan Neese. Texas club is pretty good.
Well, I'll say Cole Hamels has certainly served as the ace of that pitching staff in an organization that sorely needed him.
They've got Yu Darvish coming back.
Yeah, I was just thinking that within the month.
Might be within the week.
Yeah, might be. You're usually ahead of me in the Darvish.
Oh, I don't
chase.
miss
I mean, no, you and Darvish are tight.
Well, if you're not watching his rehab starts, you're not living.
Shows you how sick Dan is. Watching Yu Darvish's rehab starts.
If I get the chance, and I'm serious about this, I subscribe to a minor league website that I can watch games, and I'll watch minor league baseball.
I said you're sick. I mean, you're just tacky.
I love the game. I can't help it.
I know, but I mean, you got to take a break every now and then.
Even Vince Scully says, I don't watch anybody else. That's hit out to left, and it'll carry out of here. Danny Espinosa with a solo home run, and the Nationals get on the board.
What'd you say earlier? Now he's got 5 home runs, 4 against the Cardinals?
You bet.
You gotta be kidding me. That was a rocket. Home run left-handed last year, and a home run right-handed against Jaime Garcia. It was a fastball inside park. Boy, Espinosa laid a solid swing on this baby. I beg your pardon, it was a breaking ball. He had a changeup out off Mike Leake last night for a game-winning home run. And that was a breaking ball to Danny Espinosa.
So the Nats get on the board. It's Max Scherzer now. Mentioned Scherzer's eyes. Maybe we'll get a better look at it here. But one is brown, the other is blue. His mom Jan said as a little guy, you know, kids are asked to draw all kinds of pictures of animals or whatever the case may be. And so he would come home and have multicolored eyes for all his pictures too. And his mom was watching the Tonight Show, and Jane Seymour was the guest for Johnny Carson, and she also has multicolored eyes, and said, well, if it's good enough for Jane Seymour, it's good enough for Max.
Oh yeah, boy, I'll say. Lovely lady. Was it Linda Ronstadt who sang that song? Does it make your green eyes blue or something like that? Brown eyes blue. Yeah, well, that's close enough.
Go back to the home run. The grip there by Garcia.
Saw the slider thrown by Max Scherzer to Stephen Piscotty on the grand slam back in the 3rd inning. And now the curveball from Garcia.
Jaime has told me in the past that he learned his sinker from Mark Riggins, who was the Cardinals at the time minor league pitching coordinator through 2007. Now the pitching coach of the Reds. And his slider from Derek Lilliquist. Derek oversaw pitchers rehabbing down in Florida. And Jaime has had multiple surgeries, 3 of them on his arm. Oh my. That's behind Ben Revere, and he's already hit Daniel Murphy, and now he's warned.
Well, I don't see how a warning can be issued there. I mean, Mike will come out and argue it, but got a 4-run lead. He's hit Daniel Murphy, and this ball very close. I mean, it's a dangerous pitch, no question about it, but there's no record of these guys having wars like that, knockdown contest. Dusty's saying our hitters didn't do anything, even though they won 4 in a row. But that's just not the way the Cardinals operate. This ball just getting away from him. Very close and a dangerous pitch, no doubt.
And when it's up near the head, obviously it's you know, something that you look at a little bit closer than if it hits, you know, his backside or whatever. 2-1 pitch. It's a warm night too. He is sweating a bunch. Maybe the ball just slips out of his hands. And a foul ball, 3-2 on Ben Revere. Rivera singled back in the first on a 1-2 pitch to center, and also lined out to right.
You know, Dan, if they would allow pitchers in the game to police themselves and pitch up and in, and you wouldn't have guys so surprised when it happens. It really causes more injuries today, in my opinion, than it used to cause. Players are allowed to police themselves, but today it's the umpires.
3-2 hit into shallow center. Randall Grichuk is there. If you can't watch the games on television, you can now stream games live on your mobile device. Just head to the App Store, download the free Fox Sports Go app, log in, and stream the Cardinals wherever you go. The Cardinals did have a benches clearing, and I don't want to call it a brawl, but where they come out and just talk to each other in a nice, easy fashion. But that was a few years ago with Niger Morgan on their team. One hop hit to short. Diaz makes the play off the bat of Jason Worth. We head to the 6th. Solo home run by Espinosa. It's now 5-1. have seen 7 ground ball outs for Garcia. Maybe that's the play of the night.
4 strikeouts and 7 ground ball outs. Yeah, you said that when it happened, that we may be looking back at that double play, turned by Colton Wong, turned beautifully, might add. And certainly the Cardinals have looked back on that play and saw how important it was.
And a fly ball to left off the bat of Stephen Piscotty, who had a grand slam earlier in this game. First out in inning number 6. So there you go against the Cardinals. 5 hits, 4 home runs for Danny Espinosa, the switch hitter. He has 31 hits all year. It's now 9 in a row sent down by Scherzer after the grand slam back in the 3rd. Max was inducted into the Mizzou Hall of Fame back in 2012. As he strikes out Moss. He was the university's first ever first-round baseball pick as he went 11th overall to the Diamondbacks. Our BJC Healthcare difference maker, a couple of guys that have done some special things. Cy Young awards, no-hitters, and 20 strikeout games. That was May 11th for Scherzer against his former team Detroit. That tied the record as Molina hits it to Daniel Murphy. Roger Clemens did it twice. Randy Johnson, Kerry Wood, Max Scherzer, 20 strikeout games. Welcome back, Cotter. June 18th. Celebrate your furry friend and take home a Cardinals pet leash holder with photo frame, compliments of Nestle Purina. Available to 30,000 pet lovers ages 16 and older. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/promotions. This is their version of that. Pets in the park tonight. Here's Bryce Harper. He wears number 34. Always loved, for whatever reason, obviously never saw him play except on video, Mickey Mantle. And that's why he wears 34. 3 + 4 = 7. And a ground ball just past Colton Wong and into right center field.
the ball hard his first time up, a double play ball in the first with nobody out, runners at first and second. And he hits this ball awfully hard. A lot of top spin to those balls hit by Bryce Harper. He's a talent.
Tim, I think it's going to be interesting from here on out to see how often Garcia goes in, because he's been warned by the home plate umpire. If he hits another man, he could be ejected.
And that's the downside to that rule. So if you're a hitter for the Nationals, you look for everything away, because Garcia had the weapon of the inside fastball taken away from him. And that's the unfairness, in our opinion, of that particular rule. Once you get a warning, the next time in the umpire's judgment, if you come inside, you're automatically out of the game along with the manager. It's not fair, but it's the way it is.
Harper, your runner at first, and again a pitch away now to the backstop.
Yeah, if you're if you're a Nationals hitter, you cannot let Garcia get you out of the way, because that's where you're protecting now. Forget about the pitch inside, because whether it's unintentional or not, home plate umpire is not going to stand for it, and Garcia knows that.
One ball, one strike on Daniel Murphy.
You got a 4-run lead. Harper's going nowhere. No chance of trying to steal. Left-handed hitter up there, right-handed, doesn't matter. They're 4 runs down.
Little flare into left field and a base hit. Harper to third. They'll hold him up. Runners at the corners. That's 40 hits in May for Daniel Murphy to tie Denard Span for the most hits by a Nationals player in 1 month. Most hits in the team's first 47 games. Coming into play, he had 69. Mark Grudzielanek on that list back in 1996 with the Expos. Jose Vidro, he was a good second baseman. 71, Vladimir Guerrero and Ryan Zimmerman.
See some stirring in the Cardinal bullpen, but they need to get somebody up immediately.
Agreed. Now Ryan Zimmerman, his 12th season here with this franchise, and a hard hit ball. Garcia to second, to turn by Wong. It's a double play as the run scores.
Wow. Great play by Garcia. Garcia to the hitter, to Garcia, the fielder. Oh, was this ball hit hard. Almost turned him around. Took his time very gracefully. Zimmerman not a fast runner. Watch how Greg just took his time. Actually threw the ball from his left knee. That's a big, big double play right there as Harper scores, but so what? They'll take 2 outs and give up 1 run. Boy, they're hitting the ball awfully hard now, aren't they?
Yes, they are. One-0 pitch to Rendon, taken for a ball. Lila Kurtz, happy birthday, big Cardinals fan watching tonight. 36 years young.
This is a game unlike a game the Cardinals have played over the last couple of weeks. You know, they've gotten good defense, 2 huge double plays, a key hit by Piscotty, good on-base percentage by the hitters, getting on base with walks, putting things together.
And a line shot into right center field. That'll carry all the way to the wall. Dug out by Piscotty.
Cardinals have to get somebody up. There's nobody up in the bullpen right now, but I'll tell you, judging from the way the ball is hit by the Nationals, I mean, this is zero-in time for them.
Garcia, by the way, is due up third for the Cardinals. Chevy Fox tracks. Wilson Ramos, mentioned it earlier, 395 his average with runners in scoring position. They're stretching, but no one throwing in the Cardinals pen. He's thinking along potentially here with Mike Matheny. You got the bottom of the lineup, trying to squeeze one more out of Garcia, get him through the inning, and maybe start him next inning. We'll see if he gets out of this jam. As we say that, Broxton looks like he's going to start to throw.
I don't think you can wait any longer.
Ground ball. Garcia backs up and makes the play. Ramos strands Anthony Rendon. We are through 6. Cardinals on top. Home run inning. Cardinals hit a home run. The Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri. Max Scherzer has settled in after a rough start in this game in which he walked 4 in the first 3 innings. Gave up 5 in inning number 3, which included a bases loaded walk to Matt Holliday and also a grand slam off the bat of Stephen Piscotty. Since that time, he has set down 11 in a row. Richick is flied out to right, also to left, 0 for 2 tonight. Along with Tim McCarver and Jim Hayes, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Beautiful night here from Nationals Park in our nation's capital. Slider is nasty when it's right.
When he's on top of it and it's going down as it did for Grichuk. Randall trying to get it going, trying to be more consistent.
Hits it the other way and out of play. So how we got to this point, as we mentioned, the 5-run top of the 3rd for St. Louis. Washington has come back with a run in the 5th, another in the 6th. Espinosa with his solo home run. The 1-2 pitch.
Partner, I think you're right. I didn't think there was a chance of Garcia going back out there because not only have the Nats scored in the last 2 innings, a run in each inning, but They've been hitting Garcia awfully hard. That's why I thought Mike Matheny would make a move.
Sure.
Here
You
in the
can
seventh
understand
inning.
why. And it's all predicated, too, on a few things. If you start to look at it, if Bridget and Wong get on base, Garcia's spot comes up. Certainly you think about pinch hitting there.
Maybe. Or Garcia's up there to bunt. He's had 4 sacrifices. He leads the staff in that regard. But scratch that now with Grichuk going down.
And there's Jaime on deck. Another part of this is that you've been using your bullpen an awful lot. Starters at home did not go deep. You'd like to see them go a little bit deeper. And you have the bottom of the lineup coming up for Washington, which includes Max Scherzer due up second. You'd have to expect that they would pinch hit.
Yeah, he's not going to hit. But you got Danny Espinosa, had a home run last night, a home run tonight. You do it at considerable risk, in my opinion, by sending Garcia back out there.
Put it this way. He starts the inning, and if there's any kind of trouble or you sense something, he's done. Have a man ready to go. A race to the bag. Scherzer is there for the out. 13 in a row. So 2 outs and nobody on. First pitch to Garcia. And Jaime not too comfortable in that batter's box. He was backing away from that first pitch.
Well, you talked about Scherzer. Scherzer's coming out of the game anyway.
Yep. Look at that. He wants no part of this at bat.
No, I don't blame him.
You know, that is the interesting thing, though, about being a starter, or if you get into a beanball with a club and you're in the National League, pitcher has to hit.
You have to hit. That's right. Ain't no DH, baby.
I thought he would throw inside. I didn't think he'd hit him, but I definitely thought he'd send maybe a message.
But there was no message sent. Believe me.
If Garcia could get out of the batter's box, he would right now. Two and 2.
Wasn't the fact that the pitches were both inside, but they were inside dangerously. And that's what called attention to it.
Strikeout for Scherzer, 2 in the inning, 6 tonight.
This is going to be an interesting inning.
Scherzer's night could be through. It's 5-2. Time to stretch. Coca-Cola Sundays. Fans can enjoy Sunday home games in select seats for a special low price, and each ticket purchased includes a free Coke on our hot dog. Tickets start at just $10. That's all. Get yours today at Cardinals.com/Coca-Cola. Also, the Cardinals offering $7 seats for the series against Houston. That's at Cardinals.com/coffee. So here's Garcia pitching into the 7th. And with that in mind, 79 pitches, the bottom of the order. Cardinals also have a pair of lefties throwing in their pen. They've got 3 available with Lyons, Segrest, and Kiekefer.
More important, in my view, of the 79 pitches is what the Nationals have done to the last 20. They have been mashing the ball. The outs have been loud outs. So we'll see.
Danny Espinosa, first pitch in a fly ball into shallow center. There's out number 1.
How about this? Stephen Drew, the pinch hitter. Hello? Left-handed batter.
With Heisey and Taylor available, Lobatone, the switch hitter.
Yeah. Isn't that odd to you?
Yes. So that's it for Max Scherzer. His night is through. He strikes out 6. He goes 7. Gives up 5. Walked 4. Only 3 hits allowed, by the way, from Scherzer. And all 3 in the 3rd. Stephen Drew made the start last night in place of Daniel Murphy. We wondered about that too, with the lefty going tonight. And if you're going to give Daniel Murphy a day off, why not do it against a left-hander, even though he's had good numbers against lefties this year. Stephen Drew bounces it towards second, taken there by Wong, and he makes the play. 3
pitches, 2 outs here in the 7th.
And now, Tim, it's not just about the 7th. It's about pitching into the 8th potentially.
Yeah, very good point.
Wong has had a nice night defensively.
Wong's had a good night defensively. Greg Garcia on a fine play. Not how many plays Garcia has made, but that one made up for a lot of others. Infield defense has been superb tonight. That one exception, the Diaz error that could have been given on Brandon Moss.
That's 11 ground ball outs. So 2 outs. Top of the lineup, Ben Revere. Singled back in the 1st. He's lined out and flied out. 0-2 the count.
Tough out, isn't he?
Sure is.
Does not strike out a lot.
Only 11 times.
Yeah. Not going to get a lot of power out of him. 1,400 at bats in the major leagues before his first major league home run. Pesty type hitter.
Outfield very shallow, and the 0-2 pitch.
Everybody yelling here at Nationals Park that that's a curveball. You don't throw it, guys. Easy, folks. Easy now.
Pulled foul. Sometimes you think with your heart and not your head. It's 0-2. He's trying to get the final out here in the 7th.
Right.
And he flips a curveball. Not trying to hit anybody. Here's a 1-2. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Do not walk Ben Revere. That's what Jaime Garcia is saying to himself right now, and what Yadier Molina. I mean, if you have to walk up there and put it on a tee for him to hit, do it, as opposed to walking it.
3-2 pitch. And a foul ball.
You can almost shorten up a little more in center field with Grichuk.
I agree. He's a little too deep maybe in left center. Holiday is about as close to the line as you'll see him play. So pitch number 90 coming up here from Jaime Garcia. And it's a base hit. Plaza Tires Fox Tracks.
Good at bat by Revere, singling in the hole. Now a tough situation for Jaime Garcia. You've got a guy who's hit the ball hard. He's got a base hit in the first, error on a ball by Diaz in the third, and a rocket in the fifth. And you know who's on deck.
Bryce Harper, big at bat here. You'd have to think that Kevin Segrist would come in to face Harper if Worth would get on base. And the 1-0 pitch. Ground ball. Garcia again sliding to his left, and Moss applies the tag. Nice night for Greg Garcia.
Infield's been superb all night.
This is the 12th ground ball out hit tonight by the Nationals. Garcia sliding to his left, and the tag by Moss just in case. With a lead of 5-2. Very durable righty Yasmero Petit and our Chevy called to the pen. This bullpen has been really good.
Yeah, they're deceptively efficient. You're right, Dan. They have been. With the exception of you got a hard thrower in Felipe Rivero. He was in the game last night. Jonathan Papelbon, of course, hard thrower.
And the first pitch is hit out to deep left center field off the bat of Greg Garcia. Gone! Home run Garcia, his second of the year.
Before his first at bat, tonight, we said all he does is hit. And he does. Or walk. He has 2 walks and a home run in this ball game and has played sparkling defense every time when he's called upon. He does it again. Huge home run as a pinch hitter last year against the Cubs. A memorable home run. And here, I didn't know whether that ball was going to get out or not. Hitting that first pitch from Tatis. And a big home run.
It's one of the deepest parts of the park.
Yeah.
Left center field.
Yeah, for a left-handed hitter to hit a ball 385 feet to left center, that's doing something.
Sure is. And last night, to further your point, he was 1 for 1 with a walk. So it sneaks over the wall in left center, and Ray Garcia, his second home run.
You think of him as a small guy. He's short in stature, but very strong hands, like his grandpa.
You know, it's going to be a tough decision when you look at Ray Garcia and what the Cardinals may or may not do. The paternity list in Major League Baseball was instituted back in 2011. What it means is that Matt Carpenter in this instance must miss 1 game, no more than 3. They also have the bereavement list. If a family member is sick or has passed away, you must miss 3 games, but no more than 7. I mean, Ray Garcia has done everything possible to stay in the big leagues, and I'm not talking about just these 2 nights, but as a pinch hitter.
You're talking about 2 years.
As Diaz chased that pitch, and the first strikeout for Petit. He's in relief of Max Scherzer, who set down 14 in a row to finish up this night.
Throws a little harder than people think with that fastball. That's what Greg Garcia jumped on. But he throws the fastball a little over half the time. Slider 20% of the time or so. Does have a splitter.
And he's one of those guys that has competed in the Little League World Series and made it to the major leagues. From Venezuela. The Cardinals have had a couple that have done that. Lance Lynn, Randall Grichuk, who's featured in this game tonight. Todd Frazier, Michael Conforto of the Mets.
One of the more, I mean, he's a guy to be dealt with by National League pitchers. I mean, this guy can hit. He's no longer a young hitter.
Good play on the short hop by Rendon.
By the way, Dan, I talked about the grandfather of Greg Garcia, but you know he's watching tonight. Dave Garcia, 96 years young, in San Diego, watching his grandson once again do everything possible to win a game. His defense has been superb tonight. Dave, a longtime Padre. Yeah, I guess you could say Dave was almost the George Kissel of the San Diego Padres, right?
Did everything. Scout, manager, coach.
Terrific guy.
From East St. Louis.
Yes, right.
Here's Stephen Piscotty, grand slam back in the 3rd. And a ground ball that's hit to short, taken there by Espinosa. Cardinals with 2 home runs tonight. Moments ago, solo shot from Garcia. Baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Bud Light Lime and by your local Volkswagen dealer. Took 1 inning to get to Max Scherzer. He was not sharp early on. 3rd inning, Cardinals picked up 5 runs. And the 3 hits that he allowed all came in that inning.
It's funny how those walks, you conglomerate those walks, and almost all the time they score, don't they?
Yep.
And it's sad because here you've got one of the quality pitchers in baseball. Getting behind, you walk a couple of guys, and now a guy comes up, and you're trying to be too good a pitch to him, try to make too good a pitch to him, and boom, you hang a slider, and game's out of reach, or at least the Cardinals hope for that.
Now Bryce Harper, 6-2, bottom of the 8th, and a fastball from Kevin Segrist. This is a good matchup.
That might be the best fastball I've seen Segrist throw in a while.
Just jumped out of his arm.
Let that baby go.
Harper is hit into a double play. Popped out and singled. You know, that's something there that Kevin Segrist started to work on in spring training. And he went to Adam Wainwright, he went to Tyler Lyons to find out about the curveball. And it'll only feature it against lefties, but it's something that he's starting to use more and more in games in regular season play.
Look at that thing under the plate. But the strike 2 pitch, there's the curveball Dan was talking about. Watch Harper's reaction. Whoa. Most left-handers would do that.
Probably saying, wait a minute, I haven't seen that from Kevin Segrist.
Trying to keep your right cheek in there. It's tough.
Good luck. Here's a 1-2.
Same pitch.
Wow.
That's a wow. That's a double wow right there. Just nasty curveballs. A fastball for a strike, and then 3 straight curves. And this one to finish off Harper. Tough pitch.
I'll tell you what, Tim, that's as good a breaking ball as we've seen him throw maybe ever. It's really a work in progress in spring, and when he's featured it in games, it's only sparingly. There's 2 in that at bat to get Harper. Now Daniel Murphy was grounded out, was hit by a pitch and singled. A 1 pitch. Fastball.
5 straight strikes from Segrist. I beg your pardon. 5 out of 6. Did have that breaking ball in the dirt to Harper.
And the 0-2 pitch.
That's what Murphy does. He is more apt to hit the ball to left field with 2 strikes. He's a very smart hitter. He does not go out of the zone. He takes what the pitcher gives him on that pitch away. He'll hit the ball to left field with consistency with 2 strikes.
So 1 out, nobody on, and an 0-2 pitch to Daniel Murphy. Final line on Garcia. He goes 7 tonight. 2 runs on 7 hits, struck out 4, walked 1. Daniel Murphy saying before the game tonight how Kevin Long, who was a hitting coach with the Yankees, then shifted to the Mets, really helped him in his process to become one of the elite hitters right now in baseball, and he's carved up by Kevin Segrist. That's 2 strikeouts.
Daniel asking home plate umpire Alan Porter to get some help. Well, once Porter calls it, you can't get any help. Daniel's saying you got to get help. I'm sorry, it's already called. So you can't call it and then get help. You can delay it, and then get help. But watch Porter almost immediately. Strike 3. And Daniel's saying you got to get help on a ball like that, but doesn't work like that. Boy, that's nasty from Segrist.
Looks sharp here tonight. Here's Ryan Zimmerman. Fastball and a strike at 93. Remember when Kevin Segrist first came up, he was throwing 97 to 99 consistently. We haven't seen that velocity up to that level, but tonight he's throwing harder than maybe some of the other times we've seen this year. And a 1-1 pitch. The fly ball lifted out to center field. There's Grichuk. And a 1-2-3 eighth inning for Kevin Segrist. We head to the 9th. And St. Louis on top here in game 2. Six to 2, Cardinals with the lead. So Chevy called to the pen, and Sammy Solis takes over. He's made 10 appearances this year. ERA just over 2. Started this year at their AAA affiliate Syracuse. Was called up in late April after our good friend Matt Belisle was injured, placed on the DL. Belisle was with St. Louis a year ago. He had never been on the disabled list, and now back-to-back years he's been injured.
Well, speaking of the DL, Sammy Solis recovering from Tommy John surgery back in 2012. You know, I've talked to Bob Boone, who is the assistant to the general manager Mike Rizzo here in Washington for the last couple of nights, and Bob told me, and he travels to Hagerstown, one of the minor league teams, to Potomac and to Syracuse, and he said the Nationals farm system is a farm system with the richest talent pool that he's ever seen in his 12 years here. Yeah, I think about that with this organization having the likes of Harper, a very young team. And Bob said, you know, honestly, I don't know where they're going to play. And minor league guys will tell you that all you do is try to get a minor league guy ready to play in the big leagues. It doesn't matter whether it's your team or not. But Booney's saying, he said, I can't believe the talent. The thing is, I just don't think they're going to be groomed for our team. But, you know, if you get them major league ready, then you couple them in a trade for somebody, then that's how you make money, and that's how it works, right?
Bob Boone, drafted by the Phillies originally as a third baseman out of Stanford.
Out of Stanford, right.
Then moved to behind the plate and became a great catcher. I think 7 Gold Gloves he won. I know he's 4-time All-Star.
Manager for a short time in Kansas City. Had Gene Mock as his bench coach when he was there. The great Gene Mock, I might add.
Dad Ray was an All-Star infielder. And Bob's sons, Aaron and Brett, played in the major leagues. You got the Bells, the Hairstons, you know, 3-generation families.
And Brett Boone has a book out now about the 3-generation.
Oh, does he
Boones.
really?
Yeah, yeah. Said it was so much fun to write, and Bob obviously helped him with their grandfather passed about, I'd say 7 or 8 years ago. But Ray was just a delightful man. On the right there, there's Bob Boone, one of the real gentlemen in the game. He is so much fun to talk to, and we were teammates with the Phillies for about 7 years. And you talk about a tough guy, man. Tough, high-class dude right there. Bob Boone.
It's the general manager, Mike Rizzo, on the left. Well, you made me think about guys that are draft picks, and then all of a sudden they become trade bait. And I think about the 2010 draft, as we remind you that we have baseball coming up tomorrow. Cardinals and Nationals on KTVI back home. But a good example would be, you know, a guy like, let's say, Zach Cox, who then was traded, a top pick for the Cardinals, was traded for Edward Mujica. Mujica becomes an all-star here in St. Louis. So you have those kind of things that happen all the time.
Oh, sure.
And Zach Cox was a first-round pick for the Cardinals a few years ago. Here's Grichuk, and he fouls it back.
Point is, in the world of baseball, farm directors for organizations get players major league ready, and then you decide what to do with them. They may not play in your organization, but they're going to play somewhere.
You're going down that pennant stretch run, and you need that piece. And one of those teams out of contention has that piece. There you go. Solis was selected in the second round, 51st overall pick back in 2010. He is from Minneapolis, Minnesota. And he wraps up a very good top of the ninth. It's 6-2 St. Louis in game 2 of this 4-game set. Presented by the authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. So from this area, it is Matt Bowman, and he'll try to finish off the Nationals with a lead of 6-2 for St. Louis.
It's almost, Dan, a segue into the bottom of the ninth inning from the top of the ninth, because we talked about the farm system of the Washington Nationals. Now think about Matt Bowman's tour to the big leagues. He was 7-16 for the New York Mets last year. The Cardinals found something they liked about him, his sinker, his good changeup. And here he is. He was with the worst record in the minors last year, 7-16 again. And here he is pitching in the big leagues.
The Cardinals said one of the things that they really liked, strikes, as you mentioned, sinker, ground ball, how his ball will run in on a righty. And they said, you know what, we kind of took those numbers with a grain of salt because he was pitching in Las Vegas, which is a hitter's paradise.
Right. Bet on it.
0-1 pitch.
That was a joke.
I got it. Vegas bet on it. Yeah, with
yeah, Vegas bet on it.
Maybe I just didn't like it.
I think the latter, yeah. Putting me down.
Would never do that.
Now again, no walks here. Matt Bowman trying to get Anthony Rendon to put the ball in play. Cardinals 4 runs up in the bottom of the ninth.
Two and two. Pitch taken high. I'm sure this is an exciting moment for Matt Bowman. Anytime you go back home and pitching in front of family and friends. He's got about 40 to 50 tickets out tonight for this game.
Oh, he does?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Sometimes that can work against you.
Sure. Here's a 3-2 pitch. Off of Bowman, loses the glove, throws to first and throws wildly.
Boy, you just hope he's all right. That ball hit like a bullet back through the box. Knocked his glove off. Chased the ball towards the line nakedly. Wow.
He could hit off his right foot.
That's what it looked like to me. Ooh. You could almost hear it too, Dan. And the throwing error as Rendon goes to second easily.
So the second error on the Cardinals tonight. The other was committed by the shortstop, Aledmys Diaz. That was his 11th this year. The first for Bowman. With a 6-2 lead, Bowman stays in the game.
That's probably got to be a hit in an error, don't you think?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Because I mean, that ball, no way Bowman has a chance to feel that rocket. One hopper.
So third time that Wilson Ramos is hit with a man in scoring position tonight. Fly to shallow center. Twice he has grounded out to third. And he taps that foul. Strike one. Rosenthal is throwing in the Cardinals pen. There he is. Some of these appearances for Rosenthal really have been spaced out.
Yeah, they have. It's weird.
Not a lot of save opportunities. Seems like when the Cardinals
tie ball games.
Yeah, when the Cardinals win, they win by a lot.
Mm-hmm.
0-1 pitch. good pitch. 0-2.
Last year with Trevor, he's getting too much work. This year, it's not enough work. Good slider from Bowman.
So saves fewest in the National League. The Cardinals with 9. The average is 13.
Boy, that graphic illustrating what you're saying, Dan.
Back to Bowman. Looks back Rendon and flips to first for the out.
That's that play, bottom of the 9th inning. In my opinion, Rendon should break, make the pitcher become involved, have him throw behind the runner. I mean, it's going to be an out any way you look at it. But if you get Rendon in a rundown, then you get the pitcher involved. You're in the 9th inning. You're 4 runs down, so you got to do something unusual. Don't allow a usual out to be made.
That would be unusual.
Yeah, right.
And there's a lot of things that could happen with that.
Rendon could break for third, and the play is Bowman goes to first. But pitchers get a little nervous when things like that happen.
Late innings, young pitcher.
Yeah, they think it's the base runner who's made the mistake, but the mistake is thinking the base runner made a mistake.
If you follow you.
If you get it. Right. Now, I'm serious.
I know you are.
I'm dead serious about that, and that's a key play. Only to be used in the bottom of the 9th inning.
We've talked about that off the air a lot.
Yep.
Here's Espinosa, who is homered tonight, homered last night. Well, Bowman's got that good movement in on the righties and away from the lefties.
You can't pitch a tough out like Wilson Ramos any better than he did.
Last time that Rosendahl pitched, by the way, was game 1 against the Cubs. The 2-1 pitch. And a fly ball lifted out to deep left field. And the catch is made by Jeremy Hazelbaker. Playing in, goes back in a diving catch on the track.
Boy, that was a beauty by Hazelbaker. So one thing Jeremy can give you, his average has slipped since that remarkable first 2 weeks of the season. The one thing he can do is provide late inning defense, as he proved right here. Good play.
So 2 outs. Here's Clint Robinson. He pinch hit in the ball game last night and singled. There's strike 1. Our Budweiser player of the game is Stephen Piscotty. 1 hit. It was a big one. Grand slam back in the 3rd. The shift is on here for Robinson. He singled up the middle last night. That pitch way outside. Get out to a very slow start.
Career minor leaguer, 10 years in the minor leagues, similar to Jeremy Hazelbaker.
Sure. Hard not to pull for these kind of guys.
You're right. good changeup. Totally fooling Robinson.
And Bowman 1 strike away. The 1-2 pitch. 2-2. So that Robinson in that graphic, 2 home runs, one of those in St. Louis in the series back in April.
Thing about Bowman, he could throw one changeup after another, and all of them look like different pitches because of his arm movement. That's the great thing about a changeup. You can throw one after the other. Then you get away with a 89-mile-an-hour fastball.
The 2-2 pitch. And a called third strike. And the Cardinals have win number 25 this year.
Or a 92-mile-an-hour fastball.
Well, not a lot of hitting tonight, partner, from the Cardinals, but just enough in the third.
Just a great game. Great game played by the infield. The error, forget the error by Diaz. Jed, the great turn of the double play early to get Bryce Harper with runners on at first and second. And you said it at the time that we may look back on this play, or the Cardinals may look back on this play and consider it the most important play of the game. Well, you're right. Here we did.
So it's on to the post-game show. An unhappy Dusty Baker, a happy Greg Garcia with that solo home run. Post-game show comes your way next.